Rajesh. Good afternoon, friends. I've been hearing the session in the morning, and we had some great insights coming from Mr. Jain and from Dinesh Tyagi. And I've been doing some numbers and maths. So first of all, I'd like to say that I've been personally involved in the Adhaar, in the whole Adhaar program ever since day one. So therefore, Rajesh, we've been working quite closely together. And what struck me as different from Adhaar. So first of all, I think the important point to understand is that we as Indians have done something that no other country has done. And I don't think that there are many nations with 120 crores people who will be able to do it again. So I think we should be all very, very proud that we are sitting today in Dhaka, where an Adhaar program is enrolling or has enrolled up to 1 million people a day. I've made several presentations in Europe, and people are just amazed at the level of technology that has been put into place by Adhaar to give a digital ID or a means to identify oneself to 630 million or 70 crore people already. Now, we can learn another lesson from Adhaar. See, I remember the early days when the plan was how do we create an enrollment ecosystem. So at that day, when the Adhaar was being started up, there was no ecosystem to do the massive enrollment that was required. And what UIT did at that time was to involve the industry. So they created a new animal called an enrollment agent. And they said, okay, there is a price that we will pay or somebody will pay, the registrar will pay 40 rupees, 50 rupees. So you go and do your own math and you invest. At that time, more than 40,000 outlets or let's say devices were put by private companies, 200 of them. And they created an ecosystem which could allow, 10 lakh enrollments a day. And that's the real success of the Adhaar ecosystem, which was able to create a new ecosystem partner from scratch in 2 to 3 months' time and reach that mechanism. Now today, when we are faced with this challenge for the PNJDY, I think there is a need for the bankers to look at a similar model, that what can we do to outsource and bring industry participation. Can we invite 100 companies, 200 companies and outsource to them some tasks for which they are actually equipped to do? So let me give an example. Let's say all the banks would say that, okay, we are willing to outsource 3 important tasks. Adhaar seeding, bank account opening using Adhaar, and of course the issue of cards. So I as an entrepreneur would make an investment taking a mathematics that if I install a machine or equipment worth 50,000 rupees on the field, how much money can I make per day? And how much machines do we need? We need 30,000 machines to be implemented to do 15 lakh accounts a day. Now the problem today is that we have to look at a different approach. We cannot have the classical approach where we continue to expect either customers to come to the bank branches and try to open an account using Adhaar. Adhaar technologically we can open an account, but the equipment, the mechanism is not available in the field. And the banks, unfortunately, are still reticent. They have not placed orders to buy equipment which is Adhaar and RuPay compatible in the field, and then to deploy those machines. So my suggestion and my request is that let the banks outsource these models, fix a tariff, do an auction, whatever else you need, and invite companies like was done by Adhaar, create a agency who can do this on a sweep mode, and a typical station can do 50, 60, even 100 accounts a day. And you can imagine that if you are having 20,000 such stations operating on a sweep mode, you can actually do 200,000 or 300,000 or 2 million accounts a day if you do the math, and you will have a sweep mode operating. So this is one suggestion, and I think even if we invite all the EAs who are the past EAs of the Adhaar to participate in such a rollout, the T3 and 4 agencies and other, they are more than happy, they would be more than happy to take up this. Number two, I think the banks need to change their thinking regarding the whole concept of how and why we are opening this account. Okay, the sociological aspect has been discussed in the morning and in recent week, but I would even like to bring a parallel from the telecom world. In 1999, we all remember that we used to pay 14 rupees a minute or 16 rupees a minute to receive calls. And the reason was that at that time, the telecom operators, like banks today, are trying to find a business case at the upper end of the spectrum. Today, the banks pay. At that time, the telecom companies were paying money to the technology companies to open an account irrespective of its usage. Later, the telecom companies told the Ericssons and Nokias of the world, no, I'm not going to pay you money just to open an account. You are going to be paid either per transaction or if the account is in use. And the reason, and what happened was, okay, I mean, it's a change of model. So let the banks discuss this with the technology providers and actually pay based on usage. And this will completely change the thought process of banks. That, even if there is more accounts open which are dormant for the moment, no problem. But we have to create supply in the market. Because once we create supply in the market, people will actually use the bank account. The third thing is that the last mile technology, the last mile hardware. So I've done some simple maths. Let's say that a machine costs 20,000 rupees at the last mile, which is APS, DBT, RuPay, EMB, everything compliant, interoperable, all of that. And we need 300,000 of such machines. So it's 600 crores. Now, if 600 crores of investment can bring 300,000 machines on the field, I'm sure that together the 30 banks can put this kind of money. Just by the fact that if DBT were to arrive, 6,000 crores a year is the revenue that the banks would earn, as Mr. Bansal has explained. Now, the second problem that I'm hearing from banks is that, now they have to pay the BC 5,000 rupees per month. The question today is that I think if the 2% money can flow directly to the BC, so let's do a math. If 6,000 crores you divide by 600,000 BCs, it is 1 lakh rupees per BC per year. So 8,000 rupees that BC can earn just from the DBT transaction once it is fully implemented. And we are not even discussing the other revenue streams that the BC can make. But what he needs is a rich device, a tablet, a nice terminal, a robust device. By saving 2,000, 3,000 rupees at the end user device, we are compromising the ability of the BC to actually deliver more services and become more economically viable. So today, I think there is a need, this JDY scheme, PM JDY scheme. In fact, I'm privileged. I met the PM during the launch, and we had a discussion on the fact that can these BCs become rural entrepreneurs? And I said, why do we need a bank seva? Why not a Gram Udyami? And he said, yes, this is a great idea. Now turn him into an entrepreneur, because if he becomes an entrepreneur in his mind, he is going to look at more services and create, relationships with the telecom operator, with the fertilizer companies, with the FMCG companies, and become their arm, their extended arm in the village, and generate more and more revenue for himself. So I think there is a need for the industry, the banks, the technology companies at every end to sit together and rework the strategy for scaling up the last mile, the services aspect. And I'm pretty much sure that the success that we are seeing in Adhaar, the fact that from 0 to 1 million a day you could achieve in 2 months of time or 3 months of time, that can be replicated in PMJD. Thank you.